Good morning, everyone. Good morning to everyone online. We're going to get started here in a minute. So if anyone wants to grab a cup of coffee, a donut, and settle in, we're excited to see you this Sunday.
Hey, good morning, everybody. You don't have to sound so morose about it. Good morning, everybody. It's because, Valerie told me not to rub this in, but on Friday, I was in like 77-degree weather, and then you come back to this. Kara and I both were actually, yeah, and then not together. No, that's true. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying that, Kara. People might have gone home. Did you hear what Ross said? Do we know what's going on with that? Thank you. And then we come back to this, and I don't know. I sort of enjoy the crisp, cold weather, but I might be weird in that respect. I'm going to tune my guitar here because I lost my phone, and now I just found it. I'm getting ready to call you a name. I'm going to call you a name today. And you might be like, man, we came to church. And maybe it's your first time, and you're thinking, I came to church and I got called a name. Are you ready? Yeah. All of you are cog pals. Does that hurt your feelings? Does anyone know what that means? Cog pal. COGPOW. Cog pal. Anyone? I'll give you a prize if you can figure it out. Anyone? Keep going. People of worth. Bam. You are a child of God and a person of worth. Yeah. Ashley, I'm going to give you a prize. Someone just said you get to keep your job. That's not what the prize is. This thing was so out of tune. I went to this conference in Fort Myers. I wish I could have taken all of you with me. And it was all about like the inner life of the follower of Jesus, which leads to the outer life. And it was really cool because there were like conservatives and liberals in the room, and all of us needed to hear the same thing. Like it got back to, it was all about this series we're in. Like everybody, all these speakers were talking about like, man, one of the things that we just haven't helped people to connect with is how they are, and the guy used that term, cog pal. Child of God, person of worth. Like there's nothing you can do about that. Like you are made in the image of God. Genesis 1:26, 1:27. God said, let us make humans in our image. And they did it. And they saw that it was supreme. God saw it was supremely good. Did you know that you're supremely good? Supremely good. I loved what one of the speakers said. For some reason, for the longest time in Christianity, we started with Genesis 3 rather than Genesis 1. We started with this idea of original guilt and original sin rather than original goodness. You are created as originally good. You are God's child. You are a person of worth. You are God's favorite. Did you know that? Dave, did you know that? When God looks at all of us, it's like one time, little feedback here. It's okay. I looked at Bo and I said, you know that when you were born, it was the best day of my life? And he goes, what about when I was born? He beat me to the punch. You know, it's true for every single one. The day you were born, it's God's best day. You're God's favorite. There's nothing you can do about it. Today we're going to start with this song that gets to that idea because we read a psalm last week. that was all about this, like, God, what are humans that you care so much for them? You're God, and like you love human beings. You crown them with this glory that's a little less than angels. And it ends with this line, how majestic is your name in all the earth. So go ahead and stand up if you would, please. And I know you're thinking, oh man, this guy's going to make me sing. He's going to make me actually be here today. As I finish tuning this guitar, like I said, I lost my phone and then found it. That sounds okay. All right, so this song is really easy. It starts with this chorus. You might be saying, I'm not a singer. I don't want to sing. I just want to sit in my cozy seat. This is a way to announce to yourself, to announce to this community, like, I'm here. I really want to be here, no matter what I feel. The chorus goes like this. Oh, our Lord. Oh, our Lord. How majestic is your name, all the earth. Do that again with me. Oh, our Lord. Oh, our Lord. How majestic is your name, all the earth. Sing with us. We behold the breaking dawn, the light that shines over everyone. We look to you, we long for you, oh Lord. Here's that chorus again. Oh, our Lord, oh, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. We behold the rising sun, the earth awakes, your hope has come. We look to you, we long for you, oh Lord. Oh, our Lord, oh, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. We behold the falling rain, like waters rise, flood this place. We reach for you, we cling to you, oh Lord. Oh, our Lord, oh, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. I have to get to the bridge here. I have to tell you a little bit about it. It says, oh, your name is a light in the darkness. Your name is the word of truth. Your name, your name. What in the world is so important about God's name? One time a guy who needed to go rescue God's people didn't feel like he was up to the task. And he said, God, what's your name? If they're going to be rescued, I got to tell them who's rescuing them. And God's response is, my name is I am. I am who I am. I will be there howsoever I will be there. Like God is life, the life of heaven. And God has created you in God's image. So that everywhere you go, God is in you. So sing this with us. Oh, your name. Oh, your name is a word in the dark. Oh, your name is a word of truth. Oh, your name. Oh, your name. Oh, your name is a light in the darkness. Oh, your name is a word of truth. Oh, your name. majestic is your name, all the earth. Just your voices. Oh, give yourself a round of applause. God a round of applause. We're going to sing one more today because we're going to be thinking about like how one person said that at this conference said to me, discipleship, the whole point of following Jesus is following Jesus and waking up to your identity as a cog pal. When we believe in Jesus and follow him, we start to wake up from this slumber. We start to see other people that way, and we start to like share offerings and blessings that God has given us that have this multiplying good effect. And so we're singing this song, Multiplied. Your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfires, singing your name. God of mercy, God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. We're going to sing that again. Ellie, we're not going to do the instrumental, okay? Your love is, back to the beginning, Ashley, like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us like blazing wildfires, singing your name. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. One more time, that chorus. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. These hallelujahs be multiplied. Will you pray with me? God, will you breathe your life into us today? Whether we come here with a lot of faith or a lot of doubt, feeling really good or feeling really bad, meet us here. Breathe into us how we are your children, how we are worth it to you. In Jesus' name, amen. You can have a seat. Well, yeah, go ahead and sit. So glad you're with us today. We're going to take a short break because two things. You may need a treat in the back. Dad, what'd you bring today? Donuts. Okay, somebody was eating an apple fritter, I believe, so maybe there's some of those. Donuts, coffee in the back. Also, Michael, will you stand up? Kids are going back with Michael. Hello, Michael. He does everything here. Michael does. I'm so thankful for him. Kids are going to go back with Michael to do an activity, a learning activity that mirrors what we do in here. I always say this because we can always use the help. If you have any sort of passion for children and you want to help us once a month for about an hour doing what Mikey's doing, we give you the outline. We tell you what you're going to teach. You just show up, you be present, you pray. And you can do that with us once a month. We do ask, like Mikey did, you do a background check, and we make you go through our Safe Church policy. So there is about that much work in it. So, yeah. All right, get a treat, get some coffee, and we're going to have a conversation in just a minute. Someone just asked, do we have a place for money? Right back there is a giving box. It says giving box right back there. You can give also online at heavenearthchurch.org. Thank you for all that you give. We try to make sure every single dollar goes toward our mission. So we'll get started with our conversation in just a minute. All right. Well, first of all, again, my name is Ross. We have a couple of guests with us today. Give our guests a round of applause as a sign of we're so glad you're here. My name's Ross. I'm the pastor of Heaven Earth Church. Let's see. Let's give a 30-second spiel, Christy, on Heaven Earth Church. I'll do it. You don't have to do it. She's like, wait, do you mean me? She's like, no, I'm good. Yes. There's a thingy up there that says we exist to make a lasting impact. This church roughly got started in around 2019. The first meeting was in my house in 2019 with about maybe 6 of us. A few of those fine people are here. We first started building community partnerships. We wanted to see what folks were already doing in our community, how God was already at work, and how we could join in on it. We didn't have this idea that like we were bringing God to this community. God was here long before we ever got here. We just wanted to join in. So we started community partnerships. We started some groups. We were going to launch a Sunday morning gathering on Easter of 2020. Then a thing happened. And so we waited for that. We did start worshiping online and everything. But, well, now here we are. Praise be to God. I'm thankful for every person here with us and in person and online. Every person who's been a part of our journey, every person who's given $1. It's allowed us to be here today. Our mission is, yes, we exist to make a lasting impact in our community. We have 3 pillars that are part of that mission. Number 1, we want to build relationships with all kinds of neighbors. We believe every person is God's masterpiece. We want to find that out. We want to help them find it out. So we want to build relationships with all kinds of neighbors. Second thing, we want to work in our community and work with our friends to help people experience freedom from their burdens. That's the second pillar. Third pillar is we want to live like Jesus together. That's why we're here. We want to learn to live like Jesus together so that our community is transformed for generations to come. So that's our mission, and we're just trying to carry out that mission. Thanks for being here today and talking about that a little bit. I don't have much in the way of announcements, I don't believe. I said last week, be on the lookout for something we have. We're going to help people more intentionally take a next step this year. So we're having a few things that, yes, they all start with a W, called the Wilderness, the Way, and the Water. The Wilderness is a 4-week experience where it's for people who really just need to start over or start for the first time. For Jesus, his faith, his journey started in the wilderness. For the Israelites, their liberation journey started in the wilderness. So we want to invite you to the wilderness. Woohoo! The wilderness can be a good place. It can be a hard place. So we're going to do that for 4 weeks. We'll let you know when that's going to launch. And then the Way is the follow-up to that. It doesn't have to come second. It's going to be an 8-week experience. We're going to invite you to go even deeper to help you figure out some things that you really believe, help you figure out who you are as God's masterpiece and how you can get going in the mission. And then the Water, of course, is just your opportunity to explore baptism. That'll just be a one-time conversation where we help talk to you about why baptism? Why in the world would I get dunked in water? That's weird. A couple people in here have done it. They survived. Mandy, are you okay? Thriving. Woo! We dunked Mandy in a pond out in Fairland, Indiana. It was a blast. If you want to get dunked in a pond, we can do that too, or a creek or a pool. Caleb got dunked in a pool right here, inflatable pool. Was it okay? All right. So those are some things coming up. There goes my phone again. I know one. Any like baseball or basketball card collectors in the house? Jason, my man, this story's for you. I used to collect basketball cards, and it was kind of like gambling for kids because you could buy a pack of basketball cards in hopes that you would draw the winner. And so one day I was visiting my sister in Boston. My sister went to Boston University. She got a Master of Divinity there. I was there. I got a pack of my dad let me get a pack of basketball cards from the gas station. And what you were looking for in these cards was an insert. And you would see on the back of the pack like 1 in 250 odds of getting this insert. One of those high or like low odds inserts was called an autographics. I open up this pack. I'm in the back. I pull one. an Antoine Walker autographics. Do you know who Antoine Walker is? That's the point of the story. At the time, this was the real deal. I pulled it and I went, oh my gosh, I'm rich. So I called up my friend that we traded every time, and I said, hey, dude, I'm rich. I pulled an Antoine Walker autographics. He was mad. He's like, what? How did you do that? I played the lottery. I bought one and got it. Every time we traded cards with each other, that card was on the table. But something happened. God bless his soul. The production for this Antoine Walker, originally this card was worth $150. Did I tell you I was rich? Unfortunately, Antoine Walker, his production went down and down and down and down and down. He's a child of God, person of worth. His production in the NBA, though, went down. And so the value of that card, not Antoine's value, went down. I got rid of it before it went total. Maybe, Jason, we can figure this out later, what it could sell on eBay today. Probably like $1. You might be able to sell this thing for $1. I know, it's frustrating for me. I know. It still makes me want to cry, too. I love this card. And then it was like, why isn't he getting double-doubles anymore? What's happening with Antoine Walker? I wanted to tell you that story because isn't that how we ascribe value to things in our world? It's so arbitrary. Like our worth, the way we see the worth of things is based on what the public says about it. And that's how we determine worth. One person sees something, they're like, that right there is valuable. And then another person who's an expert or a critic goes, yes, it is. Very valuable. And then the public, like sheep, fall along and be like, I think that is valuable. And then someone pays that value for it, and then everyone goes, do you see what it's worth? Enter into discussion TY Beanie Babies. Anybody collect those for a time? Don't be shy, Beanie Babies. I sold them and it was glorious. Some of these people had the same experience. They got all the things, and then they weren't worth anything anymore. She wants to play. We ascribe value to things so arbitrarily. Like the public says something is worth something, then all of a sudden we're like, that is worth something. It happens with restaurants. Sometimes it's just so silly. I will look up the Rotten Tomatoes report for a movie to decide whether I want to watch it. Critics said it's got an 89%. I'll watch it. 59%. No, I'm out. Even though I know some of my favorite movies were the ones critics don't like and say aren't worth anything. Hello, Hook. Critics hated the movie Hook, and they were wrong. It is awesome. Okay? That's how we determine worth. It's so silly. We ascribe worth, we say things are worth things so arbitrarily. And you know what I found? It's hard for human beings. One of the hardest things about being human is finding things that are really intrinsically worth it. Where we experience it on our own. And we realize, like, I don't care what anyone else says. That's worth it. That's worth a lot. The question I want to ask you today is not, I don't want your like faith answer. I don't want like what you think is the right answer. I just want to plant a question in your mind and your heart. Is God worth it to you? Is God worth more than anything? Is Jesus worth more than gold, more than, well, I don't even care about gold. Well, I don't know what it would be. Worth more than an Antoine Walker autographics card at age 10. I was way more excited about Antoine Walker's autographics card at age 10 than I was about Jesus. Is Jesus worth it to you? That's what I want to plant in your heart. One of the hardest things about being human is that somebody else can tell us something is worth something, and we may go along with it, but at some point, if we're really going to give our best to it, we have to experience it for ourselves. And there's a design to that. We are made to experience God for ourselves. That's a good thing. That's a hard thing. So I want to ask a question, and we're going to keep going with that today. When you think something is worth it, when you've determined in your head, or you look at your life, when you've said, this is worth my whatever, valuable, what do you give? What's your offering then? So like if you say so for instance, if I say my kids are worth it to me, I've realized the thing when I'm doing the right thing with my kids, I'm giving them my time and my presence. Monkey in the middle yesterday in the hallway upstairs. I was distracted. I wanted to be doing something else. I felt it in my head, I'm being honest with you, but what I needed to give to them was my full presence, my time, my attention. What about you? What have you found that when you determine something is worth something, what do you give? Money. So sometimes what you give to someone when you or something when you think it's worth it, you give money. What else? What do you give? Effort. You give effort. Brooke, don't say sorry. These are my kids every single week. Yeah. My daughter would be running up here saying, I want to sing a song. And then she'd sing a song with a certain potty word in it. Be like, ha ha. I'd love to see that. I would love to see that. What is it? Yeah, Jesus said, bring the kids to me. They're worth it. They are worth it. Bring them to me. Because if you don't see the kingdom of heaven as they do, you'll never see it. What do you do? When something's worth it to you, what do you give? So we have money and effort to some extrinsic things, and food and company to the people. Dig that. Jesus always sat down and ate with people to show them worth. What else? What do you do? When something's worth it to you, what do you give? What do you offer? Yeah. You pour your focus into it. Yeah. You offer yourself. Yeah, that's a great. You offer possibility and opportunity. That's a great answer. Sue says love. Sue Sparks. Hey, some of you don't know who Sue is, but maybe you don't, but Sue's been in the hospital. She's in one of our groups. Sue, we love you. We're so glad that you're getting better and that you're home. She just got home. All right, cool. Glad to hear that. That's one thing. For me, when somebody's worth it, I pray. Pray for them. What about you? When somebody or something's worth it, what do you offer? Your energy. Yeah. Care and nurturing. Yeah. Yeah. So for Angela, she said that if you value change and you believe transformation's worth it, you're going to offer openness. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you leave your ego at the door and you offer up curiosity, openness. Yeah. Yeah. Especially with people, you're worth me letting go of my pride. Yeah. Vulnerability. If people or in relationships are worth it, you're going to offer vulnerability. Listen, nobody's going to remember the sermon today. Probably. You might remember it for like a couple hours, but you'll remember that child coming up here today. I'm cool with that. That's a good thing. Remember that today. Be like that. Seek Jesus like that. Well, I want to show you what somebody offered to Jesus because he was worth it to her. And then I want to show you why he was worth it to her. What I see in so many of us, our struggle, if I'm honest, when I don't offer Jesus like the good stuff from me, it's because I don't believe. I struggle every day in my life with unbelief. Every single day. If I really believed, I think I would probably offer the good stuff. But I struggle sometimes. I notice all of us, even the greatest saints among us, we talked about Mother Teresa recently, struggled to the end with crippling doubt. She struggled to the end with crippling doubt. That's one thing that I see us, our human kind, struggling with. The second thing is this. A lot of people have realized that, or figured out, come to the conclusion, Jesus isn't worth it, because for them, their experience of Jesus came from their experience of Christians and the church. And they equated those things. Understandably. There were people who claimed to represent Jesus, who said something, did something, and they went, I'm out. That isn't worth it. Forget it. I'm not offering one more bit of myself to that. Not a chance. We have another episode of the Broken Bread podcast coming out where I interviewed somebody earlier this week. And as I heard her story, I just felt like lament. If I had been through what she had been through, I'm not sure I would think it was worth it. So here's all I can offer today because I care about you and I love you. I want to show you how somebody decided Jesus was worth it and what she offered because of it. So let's go to what she offered first. Ashley, go to John 12 first, if you would, please. I want to show you. This is John 12. There are 4 accounts of Jesus' life. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. This is a story from John. 6 days before Passover. Passover is a Jewish festival. Jewish folks made pilgrimage to Jerusalem 3 times a year for 3 big festivals. Passover was one of them. So Jesus is making his journey. He came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. Now, if you're like me, every time I hear something like that in the Bible, I go, yeah, really? Do dead people really get raised? Come on. I've been following Jesus for a long time. I read the Bible pretty much every day, and still every time I read it, that comes up. Verse 2. Lazarus and his sisters hosted a dinner for him. That's the first offering. Somebody said food. Here's their first offering. Let's have supper and have Jesus come over. Man, that is something we can do all the time with people, is just invite them to a meal and just be present. Put our pride down, our ego down. Just be present. Be there. And Lazarus, Martha served, and Lazarus was among those who joined him at the table. So you got a dead guy sitting at a table eating supper. That would be cool, I think. I thought you were dead. Then Mary took an extraordinary amount. Say extraordinary. An extraordinary amount, almost 3/4 of a pound of very expensive perfume made of pure nard. What in the world is nard? That's your homework. You can go Google it later, all right? Doesn't sound nice. Very expensive stuff, though. She anointed Jesus' feet with it. It was customary if a guest came to your house, you gave them opportunity to wash their feet. In a world where people walked in sandals and dirty and grimy place, you gave them an opportunity to wash their feet. This Mary goes to the next step. She says, I'm going to wash your feet for you. I'm going to anoint your feet. And I'm just going to sit with you because I can't believe how worth it you are to me. The house was filled with the aroma of her offering of the perfume. Judas Iscariot. I'm going to fast track to one of the, I'm going to, spoiler alert, I identify way more with Judas in this story than I do Mary. Judas Iscariot, the one who sells him. One of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, complained. Next slide, please, Ashley. This perfume was worth a year's wages. Why wasn't it sold and money given to the poor? He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He carried the money bag and would take what was in it. Then Jesus said, leave her alone. This perfume was used in preparation for my burial, and this is how she used it. When I read this, I actually go like, I think this is kind of weird what just happened in this story. Anyone else? Like if you were at supper and somebody came in and like took some perfume and poured it on somebody's feet and like wiped it up with their hair, I'd be like, all right, we're going to call the crisis intervention team here in Johnson County. We're going to get you help. You know what it reminds me of? Anybody big like Beatles fans in the house? Anyone? What about Elvis? Any big Elvis fans? You remember those videos where people would like see the Beatles and Elvis and they'd be like weird? Today's equivalent might be like Taylor Swift, Harry Styles. Harry's a very charismatic, good-looking man. I mean, I get it. At first, I'm like, Mary is fanboying Jesus. That's what's happening here. Mary is fanboying Jesus. I figured it out. She's like a fan. Like weeping, like, oh, just can I touch you? Oh my God, just take a picture with me. I totally did that with one of the speakers this weekend, by the way. Hi, Rich, I'm Ross. Can I take a picture with you? Oh, man. And he was like so gracious. And it was really because a friend of mine was like, if you meet Rich and get a picture with him, I'm going to be mad. He's my favorite. And I was like, hey, Rich, can I take a picture because my friend's going to be mad? Is Mary fanboying Jesus? No. And I want to show you why. Jesus has become something to Mary that nothing else will ever be for her. Jesus will be worth this to her because Jesus will show her how he's worth it. Mary will experience how Jesus is worth it. I want to show you first. Go to John 11 now. Here's how Jesus is worth it to her. You can't, this always happens in the Bible. You got to remember the one part you're reading is connected to another part. You might read this part and be like, man, she's acting like somebody at a Harry Styles concert. This is weird. This is before. Lazarus was dead. Did you hear that part? Say dead. Dead as a doornail, to the point he was stinking. When Mary arrived where Jesus was and saw him, she falls at his feet before. She has no offering this time. Her offering is anger, sadness, at the very least, lament. Basically this. I need to pull back from the microphone so it doesn't feedback. Where have you been? He's dead. And if you'd have been here, something could have changed. Where are you? What were you doing that was so important that you couldn't be here? Maybe she's not that mad, and maybe I'm reading myself into the story. That'll happen when you read the Bible. This is how you will show how people matter to you, and this is how Jesus shows how Mary matters to her. The thing about fanboys and girls is we care about the stars way more than they care about us. We think we know them. Yeah, I read this story about T. Swift the other day about this philanthropy she did. She's so cool. I love what she did. I saw how Harry took time to sign autographs like 2 hours after the show. Harry is such a kind person. We care about the stars way more than they care about us. What Jesus is going to show you is that Jesus cares way more about you than you could or will ever care about him. You are the apple of his eye. She's angry and she's crying and she's upset. And she's mad at her friend Jesus on her knees crying. And she looks over out of the side of her eye and sees Jesus crying with her. My Lord. He was deeply disturbed and troubled. Next verse. I want to pause for that part before he ever raises Lazarus from the dead. First of all, he doesn't go, how dare you say that to me, Mary? He doesn't do sympathy either. Brene Brown video on sympathy and empathy. Go look it up. Quick learning lesson. Sympathy is when you look at somebody in a hole who's sad. You go, oh man, I'm so sorry that happened. Can I give you a sandwich? Empathy is when you say, I'm coming down into the hole. And you sit there for a minute and say, I'm sorry this happened, and I'm with you. And you just stay there. That's first how Jesus shows his worth. I'm with you. And then Mary looks over, he's crying with her, and then he says, all right, where is this Lazarus fella? They replied, come, Lord, and see. And now Jesus cries. He's still overcome. This matters to him. It matters. Keep going. The people nearby, he really cared about this Lazarus guy. See how much he loved him? But some of them said, he healed the eyes of the man born blind. Couldn't he have kept Lazarus from dying? The naysayers keep going. I'll tell you the rest of the story. He goes to the tomb. He says, open up the tomb. They say, Lord, you don't want to do that. He's been in there for 4 days. He's ripe. And then Jesus hollers out to him, Lazarus, come on out. Not only that, after he comes out, he's still buried in his death clothes, which is the story of every humankind, every person who's ever lived. We wear around the stuff we got buried in. Jesus doesn't quit at the raising. He says, hey, everybody, get to work and unbind him. That's what church is about, by the way. We gather with each other. We heal each other. We unbind each other. Jesus raises him. And then the lunch happens. And then the lunch happens. And Martha, who's always the one preparing the meal, and Mary's not because she's so caught up in Jesus, she says, Martha, what's the most expensive thing we have in this house? And Martha's like, Mary, what are you getting on about again? And she says, I guess it's the perfume. Fine, I'm going to go get the perfume. Why? I just need it. And she smashes the perfume and she puts it on Jesus' feet. And she's just like, man, I knelt before you before and I was mad. And I don't know why, but I'm kneeling before you now. And I just know you're worth more than anything. I just know it. And she doesn't even know exactly why she's doing it. Jesus does. She's speaking something from the language of her heart and her soul. Good news about Jesus. Jesus is an expert in the language of the heart and the soul. And he's teaching it to Mary. He will teach it to us. She doesn't even know why she's doing it. Jesus says, I'll tell you why. You're anointing me for my burial. You're getting me ready, and I appreciate it. That is why Jesus is worth it to Mary. He shows it. He doesn't sit from outside the hole and go, hey, being human must be tough. Death must be tough. Here's a sandwich. He said, I'm coming down. And I will kneel with you, and I will weep with you, and I will hurt with you, and I will eat with you, and I will die with you, and I will die for you, and I will raise you, just as I am raised. You are a child of God. You are a person of worth. You are the apple of my eye, and I want you to know it. So here's how you know it, friends. Follow him. When we seek and follow Jesus, we will find out how worth it he is. It may take your whole life. Sorry, there's the disclaimer. It may take your whole life. We talked about the water. You may get dunked in the water and then your life gets harder for a while. Sorry. Mandy, when you got baptized, did everything get ironed out? Has everything been ironed out ever since? She said, yeah. She just gave me a sarcastic, Caleb, what about you? When you got baptized, has everything gotten worked out? No? Oh, darn, I'm sorry. If we stay with him, if we follow him, he will show it. He will show you how he's worth it. And throughout your life, he will increase the magnitude of your offerings to him and to other people. I've been serious about following Jesus for, 13 years. I feel like I'm a beginner still. I'm learning how to offer things to people, how to offer my best to Jesus and to people. What about you? Will you continue? Will you seek him for the first time today? Those of you who are seeking him, will you follow him through the hardships, through the death and the weeping and the anger, and still seek him? Because if you do, you may find him sitting there next to you. And then will you show him in return what he is worth it to you with your offerings? There's another child who's thinking about it right here. Okay, I do this sometimes. And what time is it, Charles? Ooh, went a little over today. We'll just end here, though. Ellie and I, we're going to finish one chorus. Alicia, you're going to join us on this one. What did this stir in you as we make our way up there to finish with just one chorus? What is this story? What does this stir in you? What do you think as we're talking today? I am asking, what'd you say? It's worth it that we went a little late today. Thank you, Joey. I'm not offering enough. Can I say one thing back to that, Mandy? Whatever you offer it out of love, out of gratitude, not shame. Whatever you offer. Jesus despises seeing us in sadness and shame. He hates sadness and shame of that variety. You're the apple of his eye if you offer nothing. If you offer nothing, he still died for you. And he'd still kneel with you. He'd still weep with you. He'd still eat with you. And he'll still raise you. Whatever you offer out of gratitude. He wants your friendship, not your fangirling or boying. He doesn't just tolerate you. He likes you. What else does it stir in you? I'm afraid something I've said today has stirred up some bad thoughts of shame now. You're already worthy. You already are. That's the gospel. Paul says it in Romans. Few people will die for somebody who's a good person. Jesus died while we were in the business of doing whatever in the heck we wanted to do. They're worth it to me. I will be flesh with them. I will weep with them. I will die for them, and I will raise them. Discipleship is realizing how worth it you are to him. Yep. Yeah. Yes. Jesus himself doesn't punish her for lament. He doesn't say a word. 40% of the Psalms, the biggest book in the Bible, are laments. Did you know God is not afraid when you say, "Where in the heck have you been?" The word psalm means worship. Lament can be worship. What? Charles. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Charles said, thank you. Maybe I won't go home and do my own shame game. Man, I must have said something today. Kids are returning. Love it. We have an army today. Praise be to God. Charles helped me out and said it wasn't something you said. It's something that's baked into our culture. We've been living with it our whole lives. If we get something good, we probably did something to earn it or deserve it. This message is the opposite of that. The gospel is about how God said, "You're worth it to me, just as you are right now." The church being the unbinders is what somebody heard today. Yep. Yep. Yeah. 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 I'm going to paraphrase. If I strike out, maybe you can correct it when you come up here. Maybe what we're trying to figure out is where, so God says, we are worth it. And our response is, God, you are worth it. Where one of those things ends and the other begins, it's hard to figure out. In fact, maybe they don't. One doesn't end and the other doesn't begin. They're two sides of the same coin, right? I heard one speaker say this past weekend, I've stopped using the phrase, God use me. Like, think about it. Would you ever go to your friend? Would you think to your friend, I'm going to go out to lunch with Amanda, or I'm going to go out to Charles. Man, I really hope I can use Charles this week. Let me think how I can use Charles. What? God doesn't use you. God loves you. You can just join in what God is already doing. You can join in the fun and the joy of ministry. We better close it up because I think we're running out of attention here. All right, we're going to sing one or two choruses of Multiplied, then get out of here for the day. So Alicia, Ellie, come on up. Thanks for doing this on the fly. I just heard you. All right, come on and stand up. You can do it. Just God of mercy. Go ahead and throw that slide up if you would, Ashley. So hear those words. God of mercy, sweet love of mine. That's where offerings start. Finding out, like, man, you're so loved by God, and you love God in return. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. One more time. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering stretch across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. Have a great week. Go in peace. Know that you're a cog pal, child of God, person of worth, and everybody you meet is too. Have a great week. See you next time. Your love is like radiant diamonds bursting inside us. We cannot contain. Your love will surely come find us, just like blazing wildfires, singing your name. God of mercy, sweet love of mine, I have surrendered to your design. May this offering reach across the sky. These hallelujahs be multiplied. God of mercy, sweet love.